Rody, aka Rody 51, for True DFS. We are getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to go to the Dodger game. I got my old Westbrook jersey on. I've got my Brooklyn hat on, and I'm ready to go watch the Dodgers win. You know, I had to stack them in some tournaments. They aren't my main stack, but that's the rule, right? Like, I mean, if we're going to a game, you have to stack it. You probably have to take pictures from it too. It's just you want to have something to root on. Rody, are you with me at all?
Yeah, I'm here, man. That sounds awesome.
Are you with me on the if you were going to a game, would you not be stacking it? It'd be hard not to stack it at least once, right?
I don't know. I'm going to the I'm going to a Coors game this year and coming up a couple of weeks, so we'll see how that ends up for Friday night if I end up playing or whatnot. So,
oh man, I was at the DraftKings Live final a couple years ago, and I entered. We were going to they rented out the entire, like, they have the biggest suite of any stadium. Well, the Lakers now have a bigger one, but it was the biggest one at the time. Fit like a couple hundred people. It was nuts, and we all stacked, like, everybody, you know, was like, oh, it's the Blue Jays. We're facing some, you know, whatever, some nobody pitcher, and we're all stacking them and everything. And the Blue Jays, I just stacked the bottom of the order because I figured everybody, at least from the game, was going to be doing it. And I didn't win it, but I ended up coming in third in the big one with just the bottom of the order stack. And then, you know, the next day they put up 17 runs and 24 runs, but this day they only put up like 3 runs. But somehow the bottom of the stack had all the production, so it was kind of fun. But most of the time when I go and I stack the games, it only has worked for me where I've won the 6 figures in basketball. So anyway, a lot to get to. I'm sort of going off on a tangent. I'm excited. It's White Claw Friday. I know I broke the rule yesterday and did it on Thursday, but I'm ready to get into this. All right, man. I'm gonna start off with you. What are we doing at pitching on? And then we'll talk about both sites, DraftKings and FanDuel. Real quick, everybody say what's up and say what you're doing. Ask questions and stuff because we'll probably just be going on until 6:30 Eastern. I still have lineups that I need to see released before I know anything on Oakland as being one of them. Anyway, go ahead, Rody. Who are you pitching?
Pitcher is interesting. I think Bassett's might be the number one. We have Burns coming in a little bit higher projection wise, but I think Bassett's got a great matchup tonight. I'm really leaning towards him. I like Wainwright too. If you looked at the KC lineup, no Perez in there now, and like it looks like a bunch of 2K guys sitting in there. So I think Wainwright is a guy you guys should be looking into right now. You only got to get through Merrifield and Santana, I think, and you're good to go. I know Marquez is popping for a lot of people. He's rated pretty good. David Price for cheap. He might be a guy you could take some flyers with, but I don't think I'm going to take too many chances. I do like it, the spot, but I know he's projected well, but he could go for 12 points and make you happy, or he can go for -10. You never know.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I got kind of for the DK. I'm only playing a few lineups, and I'm probably going to go top heavy.
Nice. That makes sense to me. I mean, I've got one in the 888 and then a couple in the 250s, and I'm mixing in. I have Marquez as my number one, along with Bassett. Basically, I have the same ownership, about 40% of each of them at this moment. I have Burns at 30%. He's the one Milwaukee pitcher they really have let go for good reason. But I still have some fears about the Giants lineup, and I have less fears about Texas's lineup, which is why I'm sort of siding with Bassett over him. I also am mixing in some Mueller and some Wainwright. I mean, what we just said about KC's lineup can certainly be said about Washington. I mean, if you look at Washington's lineup 2 weeks ago, Trey Turner, Soto, even Josh Harrison, who's a contact guy who can be pesky, you know what I mean? All their guys are all gone. You know what I mean? Nobody's playing right now. So I'm kind of into the Mueller idea, and I think the kid's got talent. The guy who I hope doesn't, go off, because I don't think it's like he's going to be high owned or anything, but Manoah is incredibly talented, and I would love to get ahead of the field and playing that guy in general. I just didn't find myself going there as much. I do like Kyle Gibson, and that's the one I'm getting. I don't think anybody's really playing him, right? Like, I'm just going to take a quick look at the ownership. I'm not really worried.
He's low owned. I did skip over Mueller. He's right there with me and Marquez. I do like, Alex is right there too for Toronto. He's priced up a little bit too much for me. If I'm going to pay that, I'd rather go to Wainwright. I think now that I seen that KC lineup a little bit, and he's projected a little higher. But I like all those plays. If you're MME and those, get a mixed bag of those guys in.
Yeah, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't have 10% of David Price, and I'm not going to go crazy with it. It's not going to be my highest buy-in stuff. I just, for fun, even because I'm stacking Oakland everywhere, which I'll get into in a minute, I even played a Price and Fulte lineup together, which is kind of weird. But just that's a get weird lineup. That's not a optimal thing to do lineup. My favorite pitcher on FanDuel is Greinke, and I know that's a weird thing to say, but I like the price. First of all, I like how depleted this Minnesota offense is. He's a pretty good bet in general in terms of quality starts compared to most of these guys. There are strikeouts in that Minnesota lineup. We've seen good and bad from Greinke. Nobody likes to play him. I'm using him a little on DK as well. But I like this spot, and getting him at low ownership is just a bonus for me. So I'm not using Burns on FanDuel. I think it's pretty easy to get to him if you want to. I still prefer Bassett, so I'm playing Greinke and Bassett are like my main two, and I'm not really messing around too much outside of that. The only other guy, I know Price is popping over there, but I mean, you're going to count on a quality start from a guy who hasn't threw 5 innings once. It's just hard for me to, I know it's an awful Angels lineup. We don't know actually what it is yet, but we'll see. So anyway, oh, nice, man. You just tweeted it. Sorry. I always, when I'm hosting the thing, it's always hard to get the tweets out and everything.
Yeah, you went to me right when I was trying to submit it, and I ended up getting out there.
It's really tough to sometimes multitask like that, but that's what we're doing for pitching. So what are we doing with our stacks then, and then value, one-offs, etc.?
Yeah, for stacks, I mean, I've been on the Braves a lot lately. Braves are grading out pretty good as a stack. I know everyone likes to see my list that I normally post. So the Braves, Tampa Bay Rays, you got the Rockies, the Reds, the Yankees, the Dodgers, some of the top teams on the list that I didn't put in the Discord today. Also, guys, if you're on here, get in the Discord. We talk daily about baseball. It's a good time talking these different stacks where we're kind of looking, answer all your guys' questions. But I know you like John Means a little bit, but I kind of feel
no. I didn't want to play John Means.
I know you didn't say
no. I
just Means today, but you've liked him overall as a pitcher, I think.
Yeah. He's not himself yet, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think that, but I kind of like the Rays, and they're getting no ownership today. I know some people were thinking, I don't know. I like the Rays kind of as my main stack for one.
I love it. You were totally different. One of us is going to have a shot. I am not on the Rays personally, but Rosarena being out of the lineup definitely hurt my take on the Rays because he was my favorite bat from their side. And the Rays in general, pretty much flush with lefties. And that we do have Nelson Cruz over there now, though. So, and I love Zunino down at the bottom in general against lefties. It's a great hitter's park. All the things are good. I just happen to believe in Means' ability. And you know what? There's a lot of teams to pick from. It's not like I don't think the Rays have a good chance to. It wouldn't surprise me the least bit if they were one of the best scoring teams of the night. I also think you have huge pinch hit risk for a bullpen you want to attack. Playing guys like Luplow at the top, it's just not something I'm willing to engage in on a 15-game slate when these guys might get legitimate. I mean, I've seen the Rays do it before. A guy will hit a home run in the first inning, and then it's 3-2 in the second inning, and they pinch hit for him because the pitcher's gone. I don't want 1 or 2 at bats for my hitters, so that's what worries me about the Rays. They tend to do that with their righties. Obviously, there's different ways that it could go and all that. Why am I not getting my projections? But that's my reason for not loving the Rays as much. I really love Oakland. Unfortunately, my favorite play on the slate was just suspended for PED use. Was Ramon Laureano. I absolutely loved him. I think the stolen base / speed match, the power matchup against Fulte is really good. Fulte can't really get guys out anymore. I think Matt Olson's the best play on the slate. And I really, I just love the Rays. I like, so my stacks, I'm just looking at some ownership. I think I have I love the A's, not the Rays. I like Oakland, Houston definitely stand out for me. And I know Houston will have some ownership. Look, there's going to be ownership spread out. It's a 15-game slate. I like the Braves as well. I had more of them on FanDuel, but I have about 20% of Freeman, 20% of Albies, 15% of Riley and Swanson on DraftKings. On FanDuel, I have the Braves a lot more, but I also one FanDuel thing I've got to point out is just that Mike Moustakas is probably the most mispriced player we've seen in a really long time. Just coming back from the DL, was crushing the ball in AAA, and I think Mike Moustakas is like I mean, I had to force him out of one of my lineups on FanDuel because he was in all of them. So I like the Reds would be my next one, but I like the Yankees. I want pieces of, but I'm happy to take my Stanton and Judge and play for the home run game and Higgy at catcher Higashikawa. But the main stacks for me are Oakland number 1, Atlanta, Houston are close. I'd say I think I have more Houston than I do Atlanta in terms of individual players, but there are a lot more mini stacks. My main stack on DraftKings is a 4-4 with Oakland and Houston. I'll just go ahead and say that. That's where I'm at. Guys, pop in with some questions, pop in with some thoughts. Let us know what you guys are doing. I know we've got some good golf stuff going. A lot of our guys are doing really, really well. I know it's a small field tournament, so a lot can swing over the weekend, but nice to get off to a good start. I think I'm making 4 or 5x on my money with some upside to go. And, I know some of our other members are in the top 5 of some large field tournaments, and Sheets is in the top 10 of the 555 for 100K. So a lot of good stuff happening in golf, but get in some baseball questions, some baseball thoughts. I don't think this slate is overly complicated. I just think we need to for me, the thing I'm really worried about is I'm worried because I have to leave and I want to get the lineups in before I do. It looks like we might have gotten an A's lineup while I was talking. So I'm just going to double check to see what that is. Yeah, it's not exactly what I wanted. I do actually, that sucks. Okay. I'm going to have to edit a lot of things after we get off the air. I didn't think Sean Murphy, I thought Yan Gomes would end up playing tonight, which was a big part of the stack at 2.6 for a catcher. Was feeling good, and he's not in the lineup. I literally have him like 35%, so I'm going to have to make some changes. All right, let's see if DraftKings updates it. So you like the Rays as your main stack. Is there any one-offs, value, things that stood out to you for your combo stacks, things like that?
Unfortunately, I know you like Marquez a lot, but some of the Miami guys at 2K are popping for value, yeah. I'd say. Like that, what's his name? Bryson or Brinson, Diaz, Jesus Aguilar at first base for 3,700 power hitter. I mean, they're playing at Coors, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there's some power a couple guys there that are popping. I use them as value because if I'm paying up for pitching, I need a couple 2K guys. So I know Pittsburgh's kind of been popping for a little bit of value, guys. If you want to sprinkle in a couple of their guys, you got Baltimore, you got Hayes is a good value play. You got the Washington Robles. I know you're on the Mueller, but he's batting lead off. So you got a couple guys there. I haven't really got into my other main stack yet. It's probably going to be like you said, a Dodgers. I know you want to stack the Dodgers. I'm waiting kind of to see where they're going. It might end up being the Braves on DK and then doing the Dodgers. You like Dodgers on FanDuel at all? You doing any over there?
In one of my big builds, I actually found room for the Dodgers because you got Seager cheap. What I like about the DraftKings Dodgers thing is that you can, and I like second base today, but I mean the outfield is the outfield, right? We've come far enough to realize that the outfield is just where it's at, right? Like it's a loaded outfield. So I can use Mookie Betts at second base for way more than anybody wants to spend for Mookie Betts. I know it's not the ideal matchup. Whoa. But you get a lefty righty with Mookie Betts at second base on DraftKings. Is
that a new thing? That's a new thing, right?
Brand new. First time it's ever happened with him. I've never seen it before.
Okay. Yeah, I need to pay more attention to that, guys. If you guys are following, that stuff's key. When Kiki moved for Boston back and forth, and they got rid of it one day, then brought it back. You can miss that real quick. So
right.
Keep your eye on those kind of things. Those are game changers right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the thing. And you know what? I know Houston's going to have ownership today, but you can get different enough with your builds. I'm looking at Oakland's ownership real quick. Other than Matt Olson, I don't see anybody getting a ton of love. And I'm just telling you right now, like, it's weird because I used to be the guy who played Fulte for maybe a little bit too long because he was once a really great strikeout heavy pitcher. This is the time I think you want to get on this guy. The hard contact, the walks, it hasn't been taken advantage of as much, but he's not good at holding runners on either. But the home runs, just look at these games. It's like 3 home runs, 4 home runs, 3 home runs, 2 home runs. These are games. He had 4 home runs in an inning and 2/3 a couple times out. You know what I mean? Like, and Texas's bullpen is garbage behind him. I wish it was a better stadium. I wish it was more, but then again, if it was a better stadium, there'd be a 6.5 run total and everybody'd be on it. So I'm really excited about the Oakland side of this. I do like the Dodgers. I don't think that they get ownership. I just think it's worth noting, like, I've been on, I'm not trying to take a victory lap, but I've been on Sandoval as like a really good pitcher for a while. He's got a 6.5 K prop. Like, I actually don't even think he's a bad play. I think he's a better pitcher than most of the guys we're talking about above him. This guy just missed a no-hitter 2 starts ago. Then he came back against Oakland and he pitched well enough. But if you just look at the Ks per innings, I mean, if this guy pitches 6 or 7 innings, he's going to end up with 7 to 9 Ks. And the problem is, it's just a tough match. He does get to go to the National League, but you get to face the Dodgers. That's not really exactly like a welcome thing. And I'm curious to see what we end up with for a Dodgers lineup tonight, because we still don't have one, at least yet.
I hate starting to build that lineup because they get wonky with it,
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, they will. But this is
in or who's out. Will Smith in, Barnes is in, who knows? And
that's the part that's the only one I'm really concerned with, because I don't think that they would play this series and not put their best foot forward. It's like when they were playing Houston. Like, there's games that matter more, like, and just the fact that it's, it's the battle, like, this is the rivalry series, you know what I mean? Even though it's not like a big rivalry for the Dodger fans, it's a rivalry in the media. It's talked about all around LA and all that stuff. It's not like they're playing the Giants, but Dodgers with a few rivalry games in a row, Houston, the Giants, and then Oakland, and then the Angels. I mean, that's a lot. Where do you stand on Cincinnati? We haven't talked much about them.
Yeah, I'm actually got them pulled up on my screen right now. I see Mike Moustakas is 6.2K on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's 6.2, which is what I tried to force him into some, because no one's going to play him. Wow. And on FanDuel, he might be the highest owned player on the slate. I really think it'd be kind of surprising if he's not. People would have to be really out of it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But
I kind of like the Reds. They're a little expensive. I think I can get to them better value on FanDuel.
Yeah, like easier to get them on FanDuel for sure. But you can play Farmer at low ownership, and this guy's been really good. He's been hitting the ball really hard. You can get Naquin at low ownership. And who's cheap. You don't need to play. Winker and Votto are 2 of the top 4 players in baseball against right-handed pitching. The only other issue I have here is that I'm also, I don't think he's great, and I think the Pirates have kind of given up. I do think Brubaker has some talent and can at least find himself on the better side of getting through a few quick innings, and maybe, I don't know, just not like blowing up the way that we'd hope for. But I do love Cincinnati. I mean, it's just hard to love everybody. So as of now, go ahead.
There's so many good plays tonight.
It's crazy. Cleveland is one we didn't talk about. I don't have it Cleveland fully stacked, but maybe once in the bunch of 50 lineups or whatever, 100 lineups. I don't know, 75 lineups total or whatever. But I have 2 and 3 man stacks of Cleveland, like in every lineup. Not in every lineup, but like in a huge portion of my non-full 5 Astros and A's, which are my focus.
They're coming in real chalky.
Yeah,
big game slate. They're real chalky.
Yeah, so getting a couple, but to me, getting a couple pieces of it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm playing them with the A's, who aren't going to be owned. And like what I'm doing with the A's on FanDuel, for example, I'm playing Moreland, and look, Moreland is a pinch hit risk too. He factors in everything that I just said. I'm counting on the A's getting on top of Fulte before that, and hopefully Moreland can stay in the game. They have to bring in the long reliever, a righty or something like that. But I really like Moreland and Olsen. You can just, you'll use up your utility spot, but it's an interesting way to go with the stack that even if people are going to stack it, I don't think most people are going to do that.
Yeah.
And oddly enough, I'm talking about how great the outfield is. On FanDuel, I actually find myself with a lot of first basemen in the utility spot, Bobby Bradley being the other one. Always biased towards the Bobbies. You know me. It's my own narcissistic thing. This might be the longest time we've ever been on without anybody commenting. And it's kind of making me wonder almost, you were able to comment. Guys, let us know you're there. Say what's up. There's people watching. I'm looking at it. There's 20 plus people watching on different streams, and some are on Twitch, I guess. And I don't know, but
they're going heavy on building those lineups tonight, Bobby.
I know, but like
time to type extra typing tonight.
You know what it is? They were all with me on the Oakland thing, and then they have to get Yan Gomes out. In my combo stacks, I can easily just pivot from Gomes over to Maldonado, but it's not like I love playing Maldonado on a 15-game slate. But I do, if you're playing him with a 5-man now, which is what it would be, a Houston stack, it certainly is okay. Um,
Oh man, this is a tough night. I think. Whew.
It's tough. It's an interesting night where I feel like I like most of the later games. What's really bothering me is I was really into Toronto. I think that they profile really well against Eovaldi because he'll challenge them. Like Toronto, like anybody who's going to challenge those hitters is going to probably give up a bomb or two. I just didn't get to them as a stack anywhere really.
Yeah.
Thought I would just throw that out there.
I've been kind of off Toronto a little bit myself lately, and Springer's been doing good, but
yeah. By the way, I love Joe Adell and Justin Upton against David Price tonight. That's a little two-man that I've got quite a bit of. Another guy who I love is Hunter Dozier as a pivot off of Diaz at third base, 2,400 against Swain.
I forgot to say Joe Adell is at value.
Yeah, that value is pretty.
Yeah, he's
pretty
up
smooth.
there.
Yep. Teoscar.
Steven, Wainwright heavy, man. I'm on Wainwright. Take all the prop bets too.
What say that one more time?
Yeah, I'm on Wainwright. I'm answering Steven's question in the chat. He's Wainwright for GPP. I think that's a good play. I mean, I don't think anybody's coming in too chalky, really. It helps about the site too. So FanDuel, he's way lower owned if you guys want him over there. Wainwright.
Yeah.
Coming in.
A little bit of him, but I'm going to be below the field significantly on him. But I get it.
I think the field's going to be low.
I'm seeing some ownership projected on him.
I got 3% on FanDuel. Let me update this.
Maybe.
That was 40 minutes ago. Ownership update.
Maybe you're right. On FanDuel that makes sense at 9.7 because people will just play Bassett at that point.
What happened to my thing? That's not good.
All right, so I got to keep editing these out. I'll take a look in the chat in a minute, guys. I'm just gonna swap out a couple of.
Padres are up there, my guy. HC. I'm just struggling to get to them, man. They project well on both sides. Right there with the Dodgers, I'd say. Even above the Dodgers on FanDuel now. Padres. I don't know. Their lineup just came out. It might have got a little bump. I don't know who's in it, but let me check that.
Who are we talking about?
Padres. He asked about the Padres.
Oh, yeah. On FanDuel, they're going to have some ownership because their prices.
Yeah, they're very chalky. Yeah, very cheap guys. Yeah, you can get a cheap stack in there for sure.
You got a terrible bullpen behind Caleb Smith, but I would just say that Caleb Smith is a good pitcher who I think is a good.
Yeah, he's been good. Yeah.
He's got good strikeout stuff. This is not an ideal matchup for him, but there is no Tatis, and it's not quite the same lineup it was earlier in the season, which is what we got going for us.
Yeah, they would probably be one of the top teams with Tatis.
Yeah. Evening, Mike. I'm ready for football too. It's coming up. Expensive Bats is from your. Must be another roadie here.
That's my brother. Yeah, that's my brother watching.
You want to know the expensive? You want to say what expensive bats you like?
No, he's saying a lot of bats are expensive. Like a lot of these guys are priced. Some of these guys are priced up pretty good. You know, got guys over $6K. Even a lot of guys here. So
yeah, it's true. So. I'm gonna do something really quick.
It's hard to get all these big bats, and when you're paying up a pitcher, so I mean that's just.
But you do have like you mentioned, like where I'm not playing Marquis, however we're gonna pronounce it this week. I will play like I have a ton of Lewis Brinson.
Yeah,
you know, you can play Alfaro. In fact, Alfaro is pretty good.
I didn't have him in my Rays stack because I was playing Zuno. So, but that's another good. I could switch that out. I could switch it around a little bit, see what we could work out.
Yeah. Oh, Alfaro's out. Wait, hold on. What happened? That's weird. He was actually in the lineup earlier today. I thought.
What happened? I haven't seen him on the projection list, so I was just.
Oh, he must. He's not catching tonight. My bad.
Oh, okay.
He did stand out to me before. No wonder I couldn't get him as a 1v1 swap.
What up, guys? We're popping off tonight.
All right. So what's up, Brooklyn Juice? These big slates are tough. Yeah, there's so many good plays. So that's why you want to try and harness in. Like if you're playing 5 lineups, stick with 2 stacks or 3 stacks most. Don't play 5 stacks. If you're playing 20 lineups, you can probably play 4 or 5 stacks, but you want to combo stack like all of them together, basically. How would you approach something like that, Rody?
Yeah, I usually between sites too, and I kind of mix them around a little bit when I combo them together. Like playing the teams that I'm targeting a lot. A lot of times I'll have some of the similar lineups, but when I build a lineup, I kind of build it all for single entry base, like one lineup, and then I go to the next lineup. But yeah, when you're doing MME or building a 20 set, I like to build 3 or 4 stack and then bring in the other ones that I'm stacking and then have a 5-man, then have a 3-man, like you're saying.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. It's weird because in my main build right now, like I really don't like that I have Maldonado on DraftKings, and I'm gonna have to figure that out after the show. I also think that there's some good points to be made for Muller, Wainwright, Manoah, and Smith, who are the 4 pitchers who I don't have that much exposure to, but wish I had a little bit, if that makes any sense. Manoah, Smith. I do think that the Caleb Smith has some upside here. I know it's weird. It's a weird thing because everybody was on San Diego, but I'm just looking for guys in that range. I like Kyle Gibson the most, but I think that Caleb Smith does have the upside to be able to get through five with 7Ks, maybe get you 20 plus fantasy points for 7K, which is pretty much all we can ask for. Let's do this. All right. So and I'm looking at some of my actual ownerships of each players. Like I love it. Like I mentioned, I love the Yankees for one-off power or maybe 2-man, but I don't want to fully stack them against Gonzalez. He's just actually a better pitcher than he gets credit for. So I'm kind of avoiding some of that. I guess just wanted to throw that out there. We have Muller, Manoah. I don't have any Manoah at all right now. Yikes. Talk a little bit more about some of the this Padre lineup though isn't too bad for considering. I mean, Grisham's batting 8th. I know it's a lefty, but geez, maybe Caleb Smith. I'm reaching a little bit further than I need to. Anyway, go ahead. So talk a little bit.
What do you want to talk about?
Well, some of the bats, some of the individual bats you like that maybe not, that maybe a mini stack, or we talked a little bit about your main stacks, but as like a 2 or 3-man, who would you be using as complementary stacks?
Well, I got that Marlin stack that I talked about earlier with those cheap guys. You could look to Pittsburgh. Another team that's popping for the projection wise, like we said, Cleveland. I know we talked about them. They got a lot of cheap guys in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing what'd you say?
No, keep going.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Cleveland bats are pretty cheap guys. You can get like on DK, like Ramirez in the outfield, batting 5th. A couple of those guys are a little chocolate. Bradley Zimmer coming at 2.7. He's a good play for Cleveland. The outfield, I played him the other day. He stinked, but I could go back to him. I need a 2.7K guy actually, so that might work out for me. I might end up getting off the Dodgers a little bit, although I really like Mookie at second base. I'm gonna try to build a lineup with that.
Mm-hmm.
The Padres don't interest me as much on DK as I like them more on FanDuel if you're going that way. I know Bobby's into Oakland bats a lot tonight, but they're not high up on the projection for the stack. They did move up a little bit here recent. I think after their lineup came out, they got a little bump. But I like them more as a one-off, like Matt Olson on FanDuel as a one-off, maybe a 4-3-1 stack. Then go with him as like a first base and then double first base it with the utility.
Makes sense.
Like I know Bobby was playing a lot of first baseman today over there. So definitely like the first base position. I don't have any Toronto, but you could still get to a Vlad maybe if you wanted to do like a Vlad and Olson. They project really well as first baseman. It might project all around top bats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Nelson Cruz on FanDuel at 3.7.
Yeah,
that's the overall top projection, but he's coming in chalky. Same with Jose Ramirez. Gallo's not that cheap over there. The Yankees are popping a little bit. We haven't talked about them. It's a team you guys could target a little bit. Gallo's only 3.6 on FanDuel. Coming in lower ownership, I'm seeing. Judge a little bit more at 3.8 though. Yeah. So, I mean, those are some of the guys I was on Houston last night a little bit with just Alvarez one-off. I wish I would have played Castro and Suarez. I would be taking big money home last night, but I screwed up and got like 60th, down 20 some points to first. But, it was a low-scoring slate last night. You had some chances. I had the Reds. So, we talked a little bit earlier about the Reds guys on FanDuel. They look pretty good. Man, the Reds really burned me last night. I mean, they did well, and I felt like they got to 7 and just kind of died. A lot of teams died last night.
Yeah, it was weird.
We started out real strong, and then everyone just kind of died. So,
yep.
I don't know. Hope for a big night today. I hope 17 runs on the team I stacked today.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think we're pretty much there in terms of what I'm doing. I'm just gonna see if there's any more questions. Guys, drop in any more. We'll stay for a few minutes. Go ahead. What do you say, Brody?
Oh, Stevens is saying here much of the same teams. I'm giving you all low-owned teams, man. I'm stacking the Rays, which they're coming in like decently low ownership on a lot of the guys, 4%. That's a good stack. Hey, here's a get different stack for you right here. Mets. I know Kyle Gibson's projecting well, but you want a low-owned stack, Stevens? I want to see a Mets stack. That looks good. Pete Alonso at first base going to be overlooked, I think, to a lot of the other first basemen tonight. Coming in 3%, you can get a real cheap Met stack against Gibson, which I think Gibson's still coming in a little bit chalky. Or what's his what did he come in at?
No, he's not popular. Let me see.
Not that popular. He just projects decent. He's 10% on DK, coming in at 7.4K over there. I think he'll get a little ownership, but I think that Met stack's going to be low owned. They're projecting right there, like right next to the Indians, the Padres, and the Marlins up there on DK. So go with that if you want. Rays won't do anything tonight. Well, maybe. I'll probably lose all my money. It's in a qualifier too, so we'll see. I just got to get him to do something.
I think Gibson's an excellent tournament play, and I'll just keep saying that. I understand.
Yeah, that's what I say. I knew you like Gibson, but
yeah,
I heard some talk of some other guys on the Mets, and I kind of looked at Pete Alonso. He's been hitting some dingers, so we can definitely get some Mets in there for a low on stack on bigger entry GPPs maybe.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, heck, you can stack. I don't know what other off the board stack you got, Bobby. Anything
I mean, I don't think Oakland is going to be that popular. On FanDuel, they might get a little more love, but certainly nobody's going to play Moreland and Olsen together, considering Moreland's supposed to be 3% owned on his own. So that's the way I'm doing the stack. I think that is a low on stack.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I like the Braves a lot, but I know they'll be popular-ish. There's different ways you can do it with Soler, Peterson. I don't mind using Peterson down in the 7 hole on FanDuel, where I think he'll be lower owned because of that. Then probably the projections currently have him. The Dodgers, there's a low owned stack that I'm playing. I do have like 20% Dodgers, it's just mostly in smaller things. And I don't like the Angels stack. I like Upton and Adele at 2K and 2,700 as outfield value. I think they're awesome outfield value. As is, even where you're not playing Marquee, as is Lewis Brinson. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have some real value options with some upside here. It's pretty rare to get a cleanup hitter batting in Coors for minimum cost. And a guy who's actually, had some decent games lately. It's not like this guy is just altogether awful. But before I know the Dodgers go fully stacking, I want to know what the hell's happening with their lineup. I want to know what their lineup is. And I got to leave in 25 minutes. So hopefully we get it before then, because that's going to make it really complicated.
Yeah, I might actually get to Gibson here in a lineup, actually. I think I'm going to try to pay down. He popped up in the projections a little bit on DK. I might go with the cheaper guy.
Yeah.
He's it.
Yeah, I just think he's got the skill of, remember, he's been pitching the American League against much tougher opponents than the Mets in the National League park, and National League with National League rules. The pitcher that's an extra, basically a 90% of an out and like a 50% almost K rate. So to that spot alone, I mean, that's just one little thing that changes things. Obviously, your lineups aren't as strong when you don't have a DH either. So I have Gibson a lot. I actually thought I was going to end up with more of him. I have him 22%, and I thought I was going to have him like 30+%. I'm very heavy on Bassett and Marquee. Those are the guys who I'm the highest on. It took the field a while. Now everybody's playing Marquee. Like, no one was doing this forever. And I was going, what the hell is going on? He's 7K. All he keeps doing is putting up 30s at home. And now he gets Miami. So, of course, he probably blows up tonight. But I'm not getting away from Marquee.
I'm on the other side. So I hope we got a big takedown on one of us tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I like the idea of stacking a cheap team at Coors. I just am going to point out that there hasn't been a game I don't think he's pitched other than one against Cincinnati where they just went completely. They had like 9 hits in a row off of him in the 5th or 6th. No, I think it was the 6th. And that was the one game he really got blown up. I mean, listen to his outings, though. I mean, these are mostly in Coors. I mean, 23, 17, 10, 35, 27, 37, 32, 19. That's the -3, and then 24. Like, this guy is, it's not like he's been wildly consistent, actually. To have a below 4 Sierra in Coors is freaking crazy. He's been awesome. All right, guys. So I think that's pretty much most of my thoughts on the slate. We need to Dodger lineups. I'll just quickly go through some. I have 10% of David Price. But one guy I didn't mention is I do have 15% of Wade Miley. I think that this is like a weird. Like I actually thought that people were going to get onto this play, and now I'm looking at is there anybody playing him? Like it looks like 5%. Wade Miley is not like a terrible pitcher, and this Pirates team is one we want to attack. Wade Miley on the year, like look at his he eats up innings. He's not a high strikeout guy. The Pittsburgh team doesn't strike out entirely if you look at their team, but against lefties, I mean, look at the lineup that they're putting out there. It's and the flip side, I kind of like Phillip Evans and Jacob Stallings if you're not going to play Miley, but I do think Miley has enough upside and certainly enough leash. I mean, the guy throws 90 plus pitches every start. He throws 100 plus pitches in half of his starts, and against a weak Pittsburgh team, I'm willing to take that shot, especially. Good chance at the win, good chance they're playing with the lead, good chance he has some room to really operate. So I think Wade Miley's another interesting play in that mid-tier.
Looks good.
I think we're pretty much there, except for we just need a freaking Dodgers lineup, which probably will come out after lock, just so I can't leave when I want to.
Yeah. The Braves don't look like they're coming in that chalky on DK either. They're more on FanDuel, by the way.
More on FanDuel, right? Yeah. Yeah. And even like, the thing is like people can come and complain about the chalkiness, but like this is not the slate to do that because you and I know this. Like usually I've won tournaments with every player above 10% in my lineup. I did it a few weeks ago on the day slate where the lowest owned guy I had was like 11, I don't know, somewhere in that range % owned. You can win tournaments with guys.
I won 100K with Toronto, Houston, the top two teams chalk of one night.
There you go.
I put it together when everyone was paying up for pitcher and I paid down for pitcher. Yeah. I took a good value pitcher and put the two best teams together. Won it all.
Love it. Well, I love it. There's not, other than the Yankees as a stack, which is the one that I could go off and always scares me not to have. But I don't think there's anybody who I'm like against. I'm below the field on the Yankees and Tampa Bay, and I'm way above the field on Oakland. No, I don't know. I mean, but it's weird. I'm above the field on Stanton and Judge, and below the field on the Yankees in general. And I like I'm not like saying the Rays are bad. I'm just saying like you have like beware of Luplow getting pinch hit. Beware of a lot of things that could happen with the way their lineup shakes out. You also have Brandon Lowe, who's 5.8K, who I always like to play in my stacks, even in a lefty-lefty matchup. But I mean, at some point in the game, you're going to imagine that Meadows or somebody else is going to pinch hit for at least Luplow. I mean, they do have Choi and Kiermaier in the lineup, so they can't pitch at those guys, which is at least nice to have some safety, a little more safety. But Luplow, I love Wander Franco in general, but he's 5K, and I like other shortstops better. I do like him on FanDuel. I don't mind. There's three guys at 3K and below, and right there, Seager, Rosario, and Wander Franco, I think, are all excellent plays. Watch the Dodgers. They'll come out and say, just Trey Turner's okay. He's back from the COVID thing and he's starting tonight or something like that. I'm just so.
Yeah, I heard he could start Friday, and then now earlier today they said when they activate him. So I was kind of mixed signals on that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was, huh? Okay, good. It wasn't just me then.
No, I heard stuff he was going to play today, and then I looked today and he's not ready to go. It's from the sounds of it, but you never know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, I'm going to edit a few of my lineups because obviously I mentioned I did have a ton of those other guys. It looks like the questions are dry. Oh, what do you guys think about Webb and Quantrill? I think Logan Webb's okay. I prefer the other guys around him who I mentioned. Quantrill, the lineup is fine for him to face. I just don't believe in him as a pitcher for DFS on large slates, so I don't use him. But that's where it is. Thanks a lot, Brooklyn. Appreciate it. It'll be a fun game. Let's go. I've got my UCLA jersey on, but still, let's go Dodgers. Brody, anything else before we get out of here?
Nothing big. Let's get it tonight. I want to see those screenshots in the Discord, guys.
Yeah, pop it up. Let's go nuts tonight, you guys. And it's going to take a long time to get this late because there's a lot of good late action. So 1 a.m. You East Coasters times. We hope to see your winning screenshot lineups. Brody, good luck to you. Thanks so much for doing this, man. I always love doing the show with you. And
good luck, guys.
Good luck, everybody.